Hello everyone, and welcome to the second to last video in our JavaScript for Beginners tutorial series. Now in this episode we are going to be starting our final code / project, kind of tying together all of the information that we have learned so far. So we're going to go ahead and just start off with a demo of the project itself. So it's kind of a to-do list type of thing. It says what do you want to do, and then we type in add, and then we can say test, and then add test 2, and then add test 3, and add test 4. And then if I want to print, then, or like print right there, see 1 test 2, test 2, 3, test 3, 4, test 4, and then say I want to remove, and then I want to remove test. So if I print again, it'll say 1 test 2, 2 test 3, 3 test 4. So it got rid of that first item. So this is all the code for that project, and we are actually going to go ahead and jump straight into it. But to exit the project, type in exit, and then that closes it, and that shows all of the things that we printed. So I'm going to go ahead and close that and stop the server, and I am going to go back to where we left off in the last episode. So in the last episode we left off with this miscellaneous kind of code. We talked a little bit about camel case, naming conventions, input, which is what we're going to be using in this video, and we learned some of the math stuff. Now, this specific code wasn't actually in the video. I added this after the fact. And of course, you can always check out the code like this that I upload to my GitHub, which is linked in the description. It says all the code in my videos. And if you go to that, you'll be able to see the code in each individual episode. Just a fun fact to know. So we're going to go ahead and remove that code to start. And I just have these comments to help me kind of guide this video. And remember, comments we actually also learned in the last video, /, and then they just are used basically as notes for the programmer to either for themselves or to show other programmers about what they wrote. So we're going to start off by creating the to-do list. Remember, let to create a variable, and then we can say to-do list, and then we're going to actually make it as a JavaScript object, if you remember that. If not, you can go ahead and check out the playlists in the description to brush up on any of the concepts that I've taught previously. And we are going to go ahead and create a member called list data, and then list data is just going to be an array. And if you remember arrays, you can also go ahead and, or if you don't remember arrays, you can go ahead and check that video out. And all this is doing is to-do list has a variable called list data, and that is an array of the to-do list items. And then in addition, we are going to have add to list, and also notice camel case here. This is how we name our functions and everything like that. And then this is going to be a function that takes in an item, and then that will basically add to our item. So this is actually one little concept that we haven't learned yet. But when you have a function inside of an object, this function actually can access this variable here. The way you do it is you have to type in this and then dot. Because remember before, if we were outside, we would go to-do list dot and then access the stuff. But if we're actually inside the object, we can go this dot and then list data dot. And then if you remember for arrays, we can push or add items, and then we can push the item. So that function is basically going to add the item to our list data. And then we can also have another function, remove from list, and then that will be a function taking in another item. And this time we are going to be reviewing another array function, which is called splice. If you remember that, that allows us to remove elements. And if you'll notice here, it says splice. It takes in a start index, the 0 base location in the array to where to start removing elements, and then it has a delete count, which is how many elements do we want to delete. So if you'll remember, I'm going to go ahead and start up our live server to give a little bit of an example. But if you'll remember, and fun fact, we can actually code JavaScript right here in this console. We don't have to like use this, but this is better because you can actually save your code. But I'm going to create a quick variable called test array, and then I'm going to set it to an empty array. And then if I add stuff to it, like .push hello, and then if I push world, and then if I push goodbye, and then if I push world again, and then if I console.log this test array, you'll notice, remember, it looks like this. The 0 is hello, 1 is world, 2 is goodbye, 3 is world. And remember, the index means the position of a certain item in the array. And also notice that the index starts with 0. One moment, I'm going to take a sip of water. Okay, so yeah, just don't forget that code is basically zero-based, at least in most programming languages. So right here, when we call splice, it wants us to give us, or it wants to give a zero-based location from where to start removing elements. So that's going to start at 0, which would be, oh right, sorry. So we call this function to remove the item, but we actually don't know what position the item is. All we're giving to this function is the actual name. So let's say our to-do list item had take out the trash, and then it had like buy groceries. Then this is in our list data. Imagine it looked like this. How would this function know, like if it was just given take out the trash, how would it know where to delete the item? Well, that is where we're going to loop through our array. So this was just an example here. So we're going to loop. If you remember how to loop through arrays, we can use a for loop, and then we can say let index equals 0. Index is less than this dot list data dot length, and then index plus plus. And inside, we can do a little check. So we're going to move this delete into the for loop, and we can actually check if the this dot list data at the index, or if this item is the same as the item we give to the function here, then we want to delete the item. And now we have an index because we know that the item at this index is the correct item to delete, and then we want to delete one item. So that removes the item from the list. And then finally, for this video at least, we're going to be implementing the loop in the next one. We can add the print list function, which is print list is a function that doesn't take in anything because it doesn't need any data. And all it does is we're going to go ahead and for let's index, we're going to basically copy the other one, equals 0, index is less than this dot list data dot length, index plus plus, and then we are going to just print the current item. So this dot list data at index, index. And so let's go ahead and actually test our code so far. So we're going to start off by actually just directly calling these functions, but later we are going to use, in the next video at least, we're going to use user input to be able to call these functions when the user wants to call them and not in the code, which is another, it's user interactivity basically. But for now, we're just going to go to-do list.add to list, and then let's just say take out the trash, and then let's go to-do list.add to list by eggs, and then to-do list.add to list by gift cards, and then finally like to-do list.add to list maybe like go to school or something like that. And then finally we want to go ahead and print the list. And if we call this here, it says take out the trash, buy eggs, buy gift cards, and go to school is in our list here. Now, so that's essentially a demonstration of the basics of the code. Let's say we wanted to first print and then remove an item, to-do list.remove from list, and then we wanted to remove the buy eggs item. Then we could go to-do list.printlist again, and then if we reload, it says take out the trash, buy eggs, buy gift cards, go to school like last time. But then, now that we removed buy eggs, it just goes take out the trash, buy gift cards, go to school. Notice buy eggs isn't between these two items this time. And actually this might be a little bit looking confusing, so let's go ahead and just print. If we just put an empty console.log here, if we put a console.log with an empty string right here, after the for loop, it'll create a little space between when we call it. So take out the trash, buy eggs, buy gift cards, go to school, and then the second time around, take out the trash, buy gift cards, go to school. So it deleted that item. So that's essentially the basic code for our to-do list. In the next video, we are going to be going over the code to allow the user to actually give commands to the program. Like the user will be able to say, add this, remove this, add this, print the list, add this, or exit even. So that will be in the next video. If you happen to miss any of the videos in the series, or if you need to brush up on any of the previous concepts that may seem a little foggy, go ahead and check out the playlist linked in the description, where I'll be uploading daily. And even after this series ends, I will be starting a new series on web development, where we will go like into creating interfaces, creating websites, and using JavaScript to make them interactive, which is pretty cool. If you enjoyed the video, please consider giving it a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for notifications whenever I post new videos. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.